Hello and welcome to the NFL DFS slate breakdown for Thursday Night Football. We got the Raiders and the Chargers showdown. This game is starting to look ugly. So there is no Keenan Allen. Justin Herbert is out. The Raiders, we're not sure who's going to be their quarterback. Josh Jacobs has missed practice all week. Devonta Adams is questionable. There is a lot up in the air, but we're going to try and talk through some of the situations now and go through it. So, as always, for our videos, please comment, like, and subscribe to them. It helps us a ton. Just feeds that little algo and gets us some help with YouTube, you know? All right, so we got the two quarterbacks. We got Easton Stick. We got Aiden O'Connell. At this point, O'Connell is expected to be quarterback, but he is a little questionable. But Stick came in versus Denver and at least threw for 179 yards. So, you know, he can throw a little bit. Aiden O'Connell hasn't been great, but at least he's moving the ball, and this Chargers defense is awful, so I do prefer Aiden over Stick at this point. Ownership-wise, you know, they're pretty mid-tier owned. On FanDuel, we got same situation. Both of them are right around 50. And matchup-wise, O'Connell does have the better matchup. Now, if we go to running back, we got Eckler, we got Jacobs. Those should be the two highest owned. Jacobs right now is only coming in at 17% owned. I think that's likely because we're just not sure what's going on. Now, if Jacobs is healthy and plays, I think he's in a good spot. And I like the Raiders to win this game at home in Vegas, and Jacobs is going to get a ton of carries, so I do like him. Now, if he is out, I think the Raiders got to see what they have in Zamir White. So White is probably going to get a decent amount of carries, and at his price on DK, you got to like him. He's going to be super chalky, but for good reason if he is the guy. Now, Joshua Kelly, a lot was made last week that he's going to get extra carries. He only got 3 carries. So, you know, maybe he gets a little bit more this week, but I don't think it's anything more to really make him involved. Eckler is pretty much the only weapon the Chargers have on their team right now. I do expect him to be fairly active, at least in the passing game, even if Kelly does take a few more rushing attempts. But I do like Eckler. On FanDuel, we got Jacobs being a little higher owned than Eckler. And, I mean, look, if Jacobs is healthy and plays, that's how I see it. But Eckler does have some nice receiving upside in this game. And if we go over to the matchups, Eckler actually on paper does have the better matchup than Jacobs. Chargers, outside of that game to Javonte Williams and David Montgomery, have actually been fairly good versus running back over the second half of the season. Whereas the Raiders gave up a big game to Pacheco, but if you notice, their yardage totals are pretty low minus Gibbs, and they've definitely have given up multi-touchdown games a few times here, which is nice for Eckler, but a lot of those are on the ground, not through the air. And through the air is really how I think Eckler is going to get his points this week. Now, wide receiver, Devonta Adams. He's questionable. It is only an illness, so I would expect Adams to play. And look, he is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in this game. And with how bad the Chargers D has been, I think Adams is going to be in a very, very good spot to win the game. Then you go to the Chargers side, and honestly, who knows what's going to happen. So you would expect Joshua Palmer to slide in as the RB or WR1. But he's also going to get all the coverage. He's just coming back from a knee injury. How much of the snap is he going to get? There's a lot of questions there too. So on the Chargers side, I honestly think it's kind of a toss-up who's going to get it. They may as well just run Quentin Johnson out there and see what they got for him. Maybe he is more of the big play threat that the Chargers need. We do know Guyton can get deep a little bit, but really this Chargers wide receiver core is a total toss-up. One of the things I do want to bring up is ever since the coaching change, Renfrow has started getting targets again. 5, 4, and 5 through those 3 games. So I think Renfrow is a little bit of a sleeper and has some upside in this offense. You know, if he can get a touchdown or if Adams is out and a little more goes his way. Now, on to FanDuel, we got Adams' is high ownership. Myers right there, but I would prefer going Renfrow over Myers. Myers, while he is the better wide receiver and has got more attention, I think for the price adjustment and ownership adjustment, I would just rather go Renfrow in that situation. And then Chargers wide receivers, 5K Joshua Palmer. It's pretty hard to resist that on FanDuel. Over to the matchups, Hunter Renfrow has the best matchup. Quentin Johnson has the best matchup for the Chargers. Adams is right there, though. As I've talked about, those are kind of the 3 guys that I am most interested in on this slate from the wide receiver spot. Moving over to tight end, we got Austin Hooper, we got Michael Mayer, we got Gerald Everett, and Parham. Look, with all the Chargers' worries at wide receiver, there's a real chance that we see a little bit more of Parham and Everett and 12 personnel on the field. So I do think both of the tight ends are a little bit more interesting. I think Michael Mayer is a little interesting. They have been trying to get him involved more and more. And, you know, he's a nice, a decent spot to go to. On to FanDuel. Tight end, Everett is the highest owned, but look, all the tight ends are very, very low owned, and really they shouldn't be. Look, this is a slate where yards are going to be hard to come from by. That's a 34.5 total, minus 3 point spread to the Raiders. But honestly, the last week when we saw this low scoring game, I thought, yeah, we probably go over. This one, I'm thinking we go under. This game is ugly, and there is so much in the air. I can't trust quarterbacks. I can't trust running backs. Eckler's looked super slow. Jacobs hasn't practiced all week. Like, it's going to be really hard for these teams to move the ball, and what that means is tight end and dump-offs are more likely to succeed. So I don't think it's right that the ownership on these guys are going lower that low. So matchup wise, Everett does have the better matchup than Mayer. So take that into consideration if you are picking a tight end. And lastly, look, both defenses are firmly in play. I do like the Raiders D over the Chargers. So I would likely go Raiders over Chargers, but dual defensive lineups are definitely in play in this slate. And on FanDuel, the Raiders are higher owned than Chargers, and that is how I believe it should be. And kickers, both kickers are firmly in play. We don't know how this game's going to shake out, but I do expect it to be pretty low scoring. It is an ugly one. Thank you for bearing with me on this. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And good luck for you guys tonight. Adios.